Welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. Grab your coffee or tea or beverage of choice because we're going to dive right into something really special today. I'm Lisa Roers, your host, and I'm excited to present to you the 5 hidden health hazards and, more importantly, how you can avoid them. You're not going to want to miss this because I'm going to be presenting some huge insights for you. You may not like it. You might be angry, but I'm going to present the truth, and then you can decide what action to take, if any. These hidden health hazards are those sneaky things that are quietly stealing our energy and giving us migraine headaches and damaging our bodies. And they mess with our ability to do life on our terms. And most of us have no idea these things are even lurking around to cause trouble. The next 5 episodes, including today, are going to cover these hidden health hazards. And I'm so excited to be able to feature some prominent doctors in the next 4 episodes who specialize on things that are causing you problems. Things that you might not even realize are impacting your health. And with knowledge, little small incremental steps of action, and an intention toward making your life better, you can turn down the damage and turn up your own durability so you can live every part of your life with greater presence and purpose. Our health affects every single area of our life, from work to family to friends to socializing to just, showing up and being available. Don't underestimate that fact, nor the power that you have to make a difference in your life. You can change how you feel. You don't have to put up with it. You do not need to put up with the way that you've been feeling if the way you've been feeling isn't propelling you into the life you love. Now, depending on how long you've been subscribing and joining me here at the Sunshine Cafe, you may or may not know that I'm currently working toward my PhD in natural medicine. And this process has opened my eyes to some incredible truths about the amazing healing power our bodies have and the hidden hazards that are causing us headaches, sometimes literal ones. So today, I want to kick off our 5-episode series by covering one of the most simple but critical things that we do every single day that affects our health. In fact, we do this thing 12 to 20 times every minute, or for the average adult, 17,000 to 28,000 times a day. And I'm talking about breathing. Every few seconds, we take in a breath. And yes, obviously, we need oxygen, but one big, deep, intentional breath is more powerful than you might realize, and it's 100% free. Deep breaths are like, hitting the reset button on your mind and your body. It's a small action, but it has a really powerful ripple effect, and it's scientifically proven to have this powerful ripple effect inside your body. I want to start with 6 things that one big breath of fresh air can do for you. Number 1, it's an oxygen boost for your cells. Every time you breathe in a big, fresh breath of air, you are pulling in more oxygen than that shallow breathing that we all tend to do, right? And that big, deep breath of fresh air helps to feed our brain and our muscles and our organs, and it can instantly improve alertness and focus. Number 2, that big, deep breath calms our stress response. The deep breath signals your parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest mode, to kick in, which lowers our heart rate and blood pressure within seconds. It works so quickly. Number 3, one big breath releases muscle tension. As your lungs expand and your diaphragm lowers and your rib cage opens, it encourages the muscles in your shoulders and your neck and your back to relax. Number 4, that big deep breath improves circulation. Deep breathing moves the diaphragm more fully, which helps your heart pump blood more efficiently and support better lymphatic flow. And the lymphatic system is really just the body's detox system. It's the garbage pickup system that we have built into our bodies. Number 5, that deep breath clears out stale air that's just sitting there. The shallow breathing that we all tend to do leaves more carbon dioxide in our lungs. But that deep breath exchanges all of that air in our lungs for fresh, oxygen-rich air. Number 6, that deep breath boosts emotional regulation. Deep breathing can lower cortisol and actually help regulate the amygdala, which is the part of your brain that processes fear and stress, making you feel more calm and grounded. So if you stop and think about your breathing for a moment and you know that you're typically kind of a shallow breather, it's very possible that the anxiety you tend to feel, that anxiety and fear and worry, is actually being affected by those lack of deep cleansing breaths. And With a little intention and some action, you can fix that in about 20 seconds. So, all right, let's geek out for just a minute on the science of this ripple effect that I'm talking about. This ripple effect that happens in your body when you inhale a nice big dose of fresh, clean air. Because there are three big things that happen scientifically in our bodies with just one simple big breath of fresh air. Number one, air enters your nose and mouth, and it actually helps you remember things. Think of, it's called the olfactory system, but think of it as old factory of smell, olfactory system. And that olfactory system engages. And in that olfactory system, we have millions of tiny sensory neurons that are high up in our nasal cavity, and they detect odor or scent molecules. Those signals then travel directly to the olfactory bulb. In fact, the olfactory bulb sits right behind your eyebrows, kind of maybe an inch or two behind there in your brain. And it's one of the only parts of your nervous system that has a direct line from the outside world into your brain without stopping at the brainstem first. This is why smells have that fast, intense effect on your emotions and your memories. There's no filter. There's no approval step. Smells can instantly trigger those strong memories or emotions without you even thinking about it. I think that's kind of cool, don't you? That powerful smell of baking chocolate chip cookies, or the baking of fresh bread, that immediately transports me to my grandma's kitchen and those happy memories of Saturday mornings baking and cleaning together. Or maybe for you, it's you're walking in a crowd and some guy walks by who has the same cologne that your boyfriend wore in high school, and you immediately remember those fun dances and the dinners around prom and homecoming. Okay, so you breathe, and depending whatever it is that comes in and hits that olfactory bulb and the limbic system, you feel certain emotions: happy, sad, nostalgic, a variety of them. Number two, in addition to the air coming in our nostrils and hitting that olfactory bulb, air also moves into your lungs. And there's this amazing magical gas exchange that happens. Oxygen passes through these things called alveoli, which, don't worry about the name, but they're like little balloons. They're tiny little air sacs. And something really magical happens inside these balloons. The alveoli exchanges carbon dioxide for oxygen. It brings oxygen into the bloodstream and fills up those cells with good, fresh oxygen to be distributed to all parts of the body. And then, of course, after it does that, the carbon dioxide or waste gas is put back into the balloon and it's exhaled out of the body. I just think that's so cool that that happens. And these alveoli, we have millions of them in our body. In fact, I think we have something like 2 to 500 million of these little balloons. And that's about enough surface area to cover a full tennis court, which is crazy. The third scientific thing that happens when we breathe is the oxygen that we breathe in fuels our cell metabolism. Every cell in our body uses oxygen to create ATP, which is just a acronym that kind of refers to energy. So ATP equals energy. So every cell uses oxygen to create energy via this amazing process called cellular respiration. It's kind of like every single one of our cells in our bodies breathe when we breathe. And so there's the three kind of scientific, geeky, and super cool things that happen when we breathe a big, deep, fresh breath of air. Without even thinking about it, our body takes care of all of this. So thank you, body. Thank you for doing all that cool work without me even reminding you. But let's look at the other side. What happens when we take a big, deep breath of air that isn't so fresh and clean? And what even constitutes dirty air to begin with? Well, there are some really obvious things that we all know, obviously, to avoid breathing, like campfire smoke or cigar smoke, vehicle exhaust from our cars, or aerosol sprays like bug spray. But there are a lot of other things that we don't even recognize as pollutants, things that are not even on our radar, which are negatively affecting our health. And they are new. This is not something that our grandparents and their parents ever had to deal with. And I want you to know about them today so you can start actively avoiding them because they are affecting your health. Now, whether or not you're digging a hole for yourself with a spoonful of dirt or a big heavy shovel full of dirt, you have to just know that when you're actively putting these things into your body by breathing them in, you are actively digging your own grave. These invisible threats float through our homes, offices, schools, and churches. And worse yet, these toxins are marketed to us as luxury items or romantic fragrances and fresh scents. But what are they actually doing to our bodies? I'm talking about things we all use. Well, I used to use them. I don't anymore. But I'm talking about things like perfumes, expensive or not. Perfumes are really dangerous, much more so than you might realize. And scented candles or air fresheners, or really any scented cleaning soap or detergent, scented trash bags, furniture and mattress off-gassing, cleaning wipes and sprays and nail polish and removers and makeup and gel and hairsprays and public restrooms, air fresheners. It just goes on and on and on. And these are the nasty little buggers that cause major damage in our system. And we are left as the innocent bystanders without even knowing or being aware of what's going on and thinking that these are all okay for us because that's what we're marketed, because that's the message they market to us. You know, it's pretty interesting that I'm actually doing this episode on clean air or dirty air and how it affects how it affects our health, because just this last week, our family discovered a pretty sad revelation. One of our favorite rooms in the house, it's a 4-season porch, has mold, black mold, and a lot of it. This mold has probably been quietly growing over the last 3 to 4 years. And ironically, or maybe not so ironic, I have had some really strange, unexplained health issues in my life for the last 3 or 4 years. This mold is a hidden health hazard. And every day for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been breathing it in. Now, I have done a pretty good job getting rid of the other obvious toxins in our homes to help our family become more healthy and strong and durable. But there are just some things we can't see and we can't proactively remove until we become aware of them. And it's a good reminder to me that I did not need a pharmaceutical to fix my health. I was not having a shortage of a steroid in my system to get healthy. I just needed to find the source, the root source of my issues. And in this case, I think a lot of it was the mold spores that are floating around in our home. So now we are in the process of very carefully and healthfully taking care of that mold problem. And I am so excited to know about it so we can get it cleaned up and make our air healthier for living and working and sleeping. So I'm telling you, friends, I'm speaking to you from experience, deep and definitely painful experience of just how toxic air can affect our health. Now, you might be one of those who can handle a higher toxic load. I mean, not everybody in my family was having health issues, but unfortunately, you won't know whether you are or not until you wake up one morning feeling pain that you did not earn. There was no killer workout, no fun skateboarding or biking adventure. No, you just woke up and started feeling all the effects of your body turning on itself because the system that removes all of those toxins was overloaded with toxins. And now it's confused and it's turning on itself. That's what autoimmune disease is. When the body gets so confused, it begins to attack its own healthy tissue. So again, these airborne toxins can range from mold to perfume to scented candles and beyond. And the very act of breathing those things in exposes us to toxins that can literally cross over the blood-brain barrier and trigger everything from migraines and brain fog to full-blown autoimmune issues and diseases. And I, sitting here over here, and I can almost hear your counterpoint over there, and you're right. No, you cannot remove every single toxin from your experience and your environment and your lifestyle. That's not possible. But there are a bunch of things that you can remove, and it's easy and really inexpensive to do so. Sometimes it saves you money. So you might as well do what you can do, knowing that if you can lighten that toxic load on your body's machinery, then your health is sure to improve. Okay, so we just talked about all these obvious and not so obvious things that we're breathing in that are bad. But just saying something is bad is not good enough for me. I want you to understand why they're bad, so you will hopefully have a compelling reason to make a change. So, why are these substances so damaging to our body? What do they do inside our brains and our bodies? Well, these olfactories of smell, the olfactory or smell-related toxins, they hijack our systems because they bypass the body's normal safety checks and they're allowed to directly interfere with the systems that control our mood, our memory, and even impact our hormones, which, if you know anything about hormones, everything, all the systems, even our emotions and our energy is driven by hormones. And of course, it affects our immune response. So if you're having issues in any of those areas, you might have some compromised air. So let's look at 4 ways that dirty, compromised air is affecting our body. Number 1, the olfactory receptors get overloaded or damaged. So I mentioned these olfactory receptors that we have in the olfactory bulb just behind our eyebrows. The smells that we take in are VOCs, or you may hear this, it's volatile organic compounds. And they are compounds that we smell from perfumes, air fresheners, cleaners, smoke, et cetera, et cetera. And they bind to these smell receptors that we have and block them up. The same receptors that we use every day for taking in the beautiful smells around us. And some chemicals can actually even dull your sense of smell over time. Have you or a family member experienced those moments when you cannot smell the roses and everyone else can? Well, this might be why. You see, your brain still processes the signal of those smells, even if you don't sense them anymore. And the compounds activate your limbic system, your stress response, which raises your heart rate, your blood pressure, and stress hormones. So we really do not want our olfactory receptors to get overloaded and damaged. We need those. It's a part of our critical senses. Number 2, and the second way hidden hazards in our air affect us, is when those toxins pass through the tissues of our lungs into our bloodstream. Those delicate air pockets, those balloons I was talking about before called alveoli, are magical, super efficient exchange stations, and they are only 1 cell thick. That 1 cell that they have on their balloon membrane is what allows them to exchange gas in and out. And we have a lot of them. As I mentioned before, 300 or 500 or so million of them. The ultra-thin wall of those little balloons allows for a super fast gas exchange, like the best pit crew you could ever ask for, except instead of changing tires, they're exchanging carbon dioxide for oxygen. But that means chemicals, heavy metals, and other particles we breathe in can also slip through just as easily as oxygen. The third way these hidden hazards impact our health is by the scary fact that these toxins that we're breathing in cross the blood-brain barrier. Okay, hang with me just for a minute, not to get overly complex, but there are certain compounds in the things that we're breathing in, like benzene, formaldehyde, some phthalates, ultrafine particles, that literally can pass through the blood-brain barrier, especially if that barrier is already compromised by some inflammation. And once those particles are in the brain, well, they can impair a lot of things like your neurotransmitter function. They can trigger oxidative stress and disrupt our normal brain signaling, which again can impact our mood and degrade our cognition, how well we think and how clearly we can focus on things. And it affects our memory. Things like dementia and Alzheimer's are exacerbated by these kinds of things. We do not want these toxins in our brains. And the fourth way these hidden toxins affect our health is the way they activate our immune system. And unfortunately, not in a good way. The respiratory tract is lined with immune cells, and when toxins are detected, your body launches an all-out inflammatory response, which, if that's chronic, meaning it's happening all the time and you're always breathing in these things that are causing an inflammatory reaction, well, that can eventually lead to asthma, allergies, and full-on systemic inflammation. So if you're always using that perfume, if you're always inhaling that synthetic scented candle and the smoke and other hidden hazards in your breathing air, well, it's really not a matter of if, my friend, but when your body is going to start displaying issues and symptoms in your respiration. And you do not want that. Breathing is a really good thing. I really like breathing. It's one of my favorite things, actually. And you should love breathing and really take action to take care and to protect it. Okay, so what does this ripple effect of breathing in the toxins look like in real life? Let's get away from the science and look a little bit more at 3 real-life examples. Inhalation of mold spores, which is my problem right now, It triggers immune cells in the nasal passages and releases histamine in our body. It inflames our sinuses, makes me kind of feel groggy and tired because the inflammation is slowing brain signaling. Immediately. This happens immediately as soon as I breathe those mold spores in. Those mold spores are dangerous. Second example, one deep inhale of perfume. Let's say you're in the elevator with someone or in a close proximity to someone. Those volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, pass into your bloodstream within seconds. They travel to the brain. They can cause immediate headaches, mood shifts, or fatigue. Perfumes and scented sprays can also irritate the sensitive lining of our throats, triggering coughing, throat clearing, and a scratchy sensation because the chemicals stimulate an immune response and nerve responses in the respiratory tract. So, especially if you are in the music world and you are singing with people, please do a favor to your friends who are around you. Do not put cologne or perfume on before you go. Do your friends a favor. And yes, go ahead and use some deodorant, but don't use perfumes because those scented VOCs are going to trigger your friends and cause them to be coughing the whole time you're trying to finish your set. Okay, so the third real-life example is breathing in city smog or wildfire smoke, which we've had a lot of here in Minnesota this whole summer. We've had a lot of effects from the wildfires that are happening up north of us. And what happens when we breathe in those fine particles, again, they bypass the nasal filtration and they lodge deep in the alveoli of our lungs. They cause oxidative stress, increase cardiovascular strain within hours of exposure. It's not something to take lightly. So when you see those signs or you hear on the news channel that it's recommended that you do not go outdoors for reasons of air quality, yeah, that's a really good warning to take seriously. Stay inside where your air is filtered through your furnace system or your HVAC system so you're not getting exposed to as many particles. Okay, I want to get to some solutions and alternatives because there's a lot of downer news if you are someone who loves perfume and scented candles. It's like, okay, what do? I take all the great smells out of my home and then what do I replace them with? So let's wrap up our chat today with a few great and healthy options for how to swap out these toxins in your everyday living so you can enjoy amazing scents that actually heal instead of hurt your health. Let's take a look at 4 areas where you can replace the toxic synthetic scents with good healing scents: air fresheners, perfumes, cleaners, and candles. Okay, so first up, air fresheners. Many sprays and plugins are packed with synthetic chemicals that can irritate your lungs or trigger headaches. A simple swap? Use a water diffuser with essential oils. Just 3 to 5 drops of lavender or lemon or eucalyptus in the water is enough to naturally freshen your whole space. Lavender is calming and relaxing. It's great for stress relief and better sleep. Lemon is uplifting and energizing, and it improves our mood and our focus. Eucalyptus clears up the airways and supports our respiratory health. So instead of filling the air with bothersome toxins that are doing more damage than you even know, you can be helping your whole family relax and heal. Next up, let's talk about perfumes. Most commercial perfumes are full of phthalates and synthetic fragrances that leave your friends and family hacking with the irritation that they have in their throats. But did you know that perfumes originally came from essential oils and natural extracts? Ancient civilizations like the Egyptians, the Greeks, and the Romans, they used flowers and herbs and spices and resins and wood even to create fragrant oils. These natural extracts were diluted in oils or fats to make those early perfumes. Alcohol-based perfumes didn't come on until the Middle Ages in Europe when distillation techniques improved. And even then, the scents, they were still mostly derived from flowers, herbs, and resins. Synthetic fragrance chemicals didn't appear onto the scene until the late 19th century. So for thousands of years, perfume was purely essential oil-based. So instead of those toxic synthetic concoctions, try essential oil blends on your skin. You will be so glad you did. My favorites for essential oils are lavender, bergamot, and frankincense, or also rose absolute for a beautiful standalone floral scent. Bergamot helps reduce stress and anxiety, and it also uplifts your mood. Frankincense, which you probably recognize from our Christmas carols, is grounding and calming, and it supports emotional balance. Rose absolute promotes relaxation and feelings of love and emotional well-being. You know that fragrance we get from a fresh rose? That's what goes into this beautiful essential oil of rose. It's just lovely. You will really enjoy it. Remember to dilute your essential oils in some kind of a carrier oil like a jojoba or really clean coconut oil, or even in alcohol so it's safe and long-lasting, because these oils are very concentrated and can irritate the skin if you put them directly on your skin. Okay, let's shift and talk about cleaners after I drink. Originally, my friends, we didn't have Clorox bleach and soft scrub soaps and all of these really crazy high chemical things like Pine Sol. Originally, cleaners were also made from natural ingredients, much like our perfumes. They used ash, vinegar, lemon juice, baking soda, some animal fats, and herbs long before synthetic chemicals appeared in the mid-1900s. These simple and natural agents effectively cleaned and disinfected without the toxic fragrances found in so many of those hidden hazards that are hiding under your sinks today. Those harsh sprays under your sink might get the job done, but they can also irritate your lungs and skin and cause long-term issues while they linger in the air and you continue breathing them in. So instead, try making your own all-purpose cleaner with just a simple combination of white vinegar, water, and essential oils like lemon oil, tea tree oil, or lavender. White vinegar, my friends, is ridiculously cheap. You can get it at Costco for a ridiculously cheap price. And the white vinegar will kill mold spores and other bacteria, while tea tree oil is actually a natural antibacterial and antifungal. It keeps surfaces clean and safe. And if you're using a cloth with silver in it, even better. Lemon cuts through grease and purifies the air. It smells so beautiful and leaves this wonderful fresh scent in your home and your kitchen. And lavender adds a calming aroma while helping to disinfect your house naturally. Okay, let's shift over to candles. I love candles. I always have candles going. I love their magical dancing light. And just like our perfumes and our cleaning products, original candles were made from natural waxes and fat, like tallow, animal fat, beeswax, and later, bayberry wax. In contrast to those natural things, paraffin wax, which is a petroleum byproduct, was introduced in the 1800s. Now, the natural candles burn cleaner and they often have a nice, mild, pleasant scent from the materials themselves, not to mention essential oils that are sometimes added, but they are not toxic to our health. However, paraffin and synthetic candles release toxins and soot into the air, which then you breathe in. So instead, choose soy, beeswax, or coconut wax candles scented with a beautiful natural essential oil, or skip the flame entirely and just use a diffuser or an oil burner for a safe, beautiful fragrance. They might be a little more expensive, I'll give you that, but it's a tiny investment in your health, my friends. Think of it this way. You're either paying for your health in good food and good scents, or you're paying for it at the doctor's office and the pharmaceutical stores, which, let me tell you, is a lot more expensive than the difference between a natural candle and a not-so-natural one. So write yourself a prescription for good health and choose natural foods, natural products to make you and your home smell amazing. So there you have it, my friends, 4 easy swaps that let you enjoy amazing scents while keeping your home and your health safe. And the bonus? You're not just smelling good. You're supporting relaxation, focus, mood, and respiratory health as well. Even just starting with one swap this week will get you on a better path and might just make a really noticeable difference. So let's recap really quick. In today's episode, we reviewed the very important aspects of breath and uncovered the hidden toxins hiding in everyday scents, air fresheners, perfumes, cleaners, and candles, and more, and how they impact you immediately and harm your health over time. We explored how these products were originally made from pure, natural ingredients like essential oils, beeswax, vinegar, and herbs, and unfortunately, how modern synthetics have replaced them with a whole lot cheaper, but also potentially a lot more harmful chemicals. The good news? We walked through easy, healthy swaps like diffusing lavender, lemon, or eucalyptus for fresh air, creating natural perfumes with oils like bergamot, frankincense, and rose, making do-it-yourself cleaners with white vinegar, tea tree oil, just like our grandparents and their parents did, and choosing soy or beeswax candles instead of synthetic fumes. These swaps not only smell amazing, but they will also boost your mood, calm your stress, support respiratory health, and create a truly healthy, wonderfully fragrant home. Even small changes can help make a huge difference for you and those who come into your space. So, what one swap will you try this week? Please put it in the comments below. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to learn how these kinds of swaps are helping your health. And that's a wrap on today's episode where we uncovered the hidden health hazards hiding in what we breathe. But my friends, this is just the beginning, because over the next 4 weeks, we're diving in to help you know, see, and take action on the hidden health hazards that are contributing to disease and holding you back from living your most amazing life. Here's what we have in store. In episode 89, you're going to meet my sweet friend Sherry Calbum, affectionately known as the Juice Lady. And after hearing her gripping story, you're going to discover how fresh, healing juices can transform your energy, immunity, and vitality. In episode 90, we'll get the real scoop on dangerous fats with Dr. Chris Kenobi, and trust me, what you'll learn will completely change the way you look at your grocery cart and what you're ordering when you're out at restaurants. It will empower you, my friends, in ways you might never have expected. Then in episode 91, we're going to unlock the sleepy secrets of a good night's rest with Dr. Vicky Casper, because better health starts with better sleep. And in episode 92, we're going to pull back the curtain to reveal the hidden health hazards in dentistry with an amazing doctor, Dr. Tara Carr. This one is definitely going to surprise you and inform you so you can reclaim great health. And finally, we'll wrap up this incredible series with the one and only charismatic and so relatable researcher, scientist, and professor of brain and cognitive sciences, Dr. Susan Peirce Thompson, as she reveals for us how to harness our freedom so we can truly live healthy, happy, and free. So make sure you're subscribed and share this episode with someone who is ready to ditch the toxins, and get ready, because what's coming next could literally change your life. That's not a marketing line. That's truth. Thanks for joining us today and for sharing this episode, because you never know what kind of encouragement might be in this episode someone else needs to hear. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you right back here next week at the Sunshine Cafe for a brilliant conversation with my friend Sherry Calbum. See you next time.